Hello, my name is Stephanie and welcome back to my channel, and today I am finally going to give you an update on my second grad scheme rotation, which also happened to be the final one. And I cannot believe this, but I am no longer a trainee anymore, which is just so strange to me. But let's go straight into it. First, give you a short recap so that you know sort of where this sits in my sort of grad scheme, if that makes sense. So I started last year September, so that was September 22, and I had 2 months of onboarding. After that, I started in my first rotation in November, and that rotation lasted until mid and February. And then I had an additional 2 weeks of training, which was online or like half online, half in person. So we connected with lots of other trainees who are doing the same grad scheme but in different countries, so that was really fun. Then I was put in my second rotation, which started like early March, and that one came to an end at the end of August, because then it's like a full year with like a September start, if that makes sense. And the final week of my grad scheme was graduation week, so I've just had that as well, and I am no longer a trainee anymore. But it does mean that I can give you an update on how that second rotation went. So if you watched my previous video, I explained that my second placement was in category development, which essentially is like consulting a client on how to grow a category as a whole, which is not limited to my business, if that makes sense. So it's a role where you sort of step out of the business and sort of look at it more holistically. I know it's very hard to explain, but it does mean that I learned to look at something from like more of a neutral perspective, which also meant that in some cases, if you have to, you should give the right advice, and the right advice sometimes can be something that goes against your business. But then sort of like the philosophy behind it is that eventually if the category grows, inevitably your part in it will grow as well, if that makes sense. I don't know if that made any sense. Again, like it's quite complicated to explain, but that's what I did, and I actually really enjoyed it as well. So how it sort of works for me to end up in category development. So effectively I put a preference down for my first rotation, which started back in November, which was finance, and I got my first choice preference essentially, and they put me into RGM and I had a great time. Now for this time around, I actually put my preference in for marketing. That was my number one preference, because going into this whole graduate scheme, I was very much set on trying out marketing at one point. And I must admit that while I was in my finance rotation, I found out that I actually really like data analytics, which I never thought that I would say in a million years as like a French lit student. But here we are. I love data analytics. Please give me a shoot Excel, and I'll just, figure out some insights from it. So they obviously talked to me about that, and they sort of, put me where the business needs are at, and they figured that cat dev or category development would be a great fit, and they couldn't be more right. Honestly, I had such a great time. I would say the only negative that I've had with this particular role is that my first role in finance was much more project based, because obviously we're working on a project, and this role, like category development, was more of like a routine based role. And I never thought that I would have like a very strong preference for like a routine based role or a project based role, but that's the one thing I did learn, is that I actually prefer project based roles. And this might be something that's just in this stage of my life might be the case, who knows, that might change. And obviously within a routine based role there is still projects, and within like a project based role there is still routines that you need to stick to. But in the end, I think overall that's one of the things that came to light for me, that I like more project based roles at this particular given time. So that's something definitely that I took to heart. So there's two things that main big things that I learned essentially, is that I love data analytics and I love a project-based role. But yeah, cycling back to like catnap and everything that I liked about it. So I love my team, I love my manager, everybody was so nice, it was so great. I just loved it. I just liked it. Also the philosophy behind it, because the whole strategic thinking about a category as a whole is actually something that I really enjoyed. I must say that looking at some of my colleagues, they have more of a routine-based role than I actually had, because the clients that I was dealing with, they were more ad hoc request clients. They were not like on a routine based clients, if that makes any sense. I also definitely had days where it was like less busy, or weeks where it's like 2 or 3 weeks where I was like absolutely going crazy and had like so much stuff to do. So it was very fluctuating in my calendar, which I also learned that I actually don't mind as much, because as long as I'm like feeling productive, I'm fine. And if there is like a day that there is like not a whole lot to do, you know, there's always other things that you are lingering that you still need to do, like, you know, basic work admin or submitting your expenses and things like that. So it's also quite good to just have time to actually do those things as well, because they're also important. And another very, very plus point about this role was the fact that because I was dealing with clients, I was also dealing with a lot more colleagues of mine within my business, because in the end they all have relationships with this particular client, and therefore I met so many more of my colleagues, which is great because I now know so many people at my business, which is just fantastic. Because if I ever have a question, or people change roles, or there's something else, I have always people I can reach out to, and honestly that's just incredibly valuable as well. And it also did push me a little bit outside of my comfort zone, especially having like my first ever client facing meeting, which is a bit daunting at first, because, you know, I've never been to a meeting before where I represent the business that I work for in that sort of capacity. So that was definitely like an experience, and it was this whole new thing, and obviously the first one is always scary, so it was a bit scary but I did really enjoy it. So that was kind of like a good first that I've had during this particular rotation. But yeah, this was also my last rotation, so I'm essentially done with my graduate scheme, which is just so weird to say. I will do like a more in-depth video where I go over the whole thing and what I think that I gained from it as like a whole, and then I will also sort of like reveal where I will be going next. But yeah, for now I'll just give you a bit of like an update on my last week, which was graduation week, and it was really cute. It was another week where I had like inspirational speakers, we had some like trainings, and all of the other trainees from all over the world came to our office. I was really excited because obviously we met those people during onboarding like a year ago, like virtually, and then again we saw them virtually in between the two placements, and now to finally see those people in person is actually quite funny, because, you know, if you see somebody online, you're always like, oh, they're like going to be tall or they're going to be short, and then you see them in person and they're like the total opposite. Either way, it was a lot of fun to see everybody in person. We had a great time, and it was just a very jam-packed week. To be fair, I had been on annual leave prior to this week. I went away on a bit of a holiday, which was lovely, and I got a sunstroke, so that was great. It was not like a very heavy one, but I definitely like felt it, and it just needed to be in bed. And obviously with this like exciting week going on, I was not going to be staying in bed, so by the end of it I was in bed sick with a cold because I pushed through like not feeling so well in the beginning, and then it just got progressively worse, and then I just crashed in that weekend. I was not doing well, but that's like totally my own fault. Like I've definitely been told, like, Steph, go home, please, just go home. I would be like, no. Because it was a sunstroke, like it was not contagious. If it would have been anything contagious, I would have 100% stayed at home. But a sunstroke is not contagious, or a heat stroke, whatever you want to call it, but it's not contagious. And I didn't have it to like an extreme extent. It was just like a slight one, if that makes sense. It's like, you know, being stupid and going on holiday, that's what happened. Either way, and I didn't wear a cap, so that was my own fault. But yeah, graduation week was really, really fun. But yeah, it was really, really fun, and it was just good to see everybody in the end, and it was just lovely, and it was a good way to sort of end this whole grad scheme period of my life, which has been a bit chaotic. I now have like a full-time role, which again, in a way is quite similar to being a trainee, because, you know, you're still like contributing to the business and you're having like a full-time role type situation, if that makes sense. But yeah, now it's like more grown-up, I suppose. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will keep you posted on everything like grad scheme wise, and I will do a recap on it as a whole and sort of give you some pointers where to, like, you know, push and maybe just like figure stuff out, and what I thought was really worth it about it and what I thought wasn't, I suppose. But I'll do a video like that and I'll upload that next week. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next one. Bye.